Hi there! Do you think that Sanskrit is seemingly complex and it shouldn't be? I've collected 5 reasons to explain this thing. So let's just start with the first one. The fourth one is my favorite, by the way. Each and every language in the world has language standards, and Sanskrit is not an exception. You're going to find differences in language between me speaking and a scholarly learned Sanskrit speak. So there are going to be differences. So there are some substandard Sanskrit words like bhaktam instead of odanam, and lugnam instead of vastram, and tipitam instead of prutukam, but these are the things that you just saw in the picture. So that is the thing. That isn't the best way to explain them as a substandard words or something like that. They were just words that were spoken more and written less. So the good news is that you can find these words very easily. So these words can be found out by this way. If you speak any native language that is rooted in Sanskrit, then you can just find out these words by looking at the Sanskrit counterparts or the tatsama word. And tatsama, you can just find those words which were spoken more and written less. These words make Sanskrit conversation more engaging, and you're going to speak Sanskrit more fluently, more intuitively. You're going to connect with your native language while speaking in Sanskrit. And this is the first reason. Another reason is time context. Now, if you have known Sanskrit, trust me, you have immediate access to 2,500 years of Sanskrit literature, but with that power comes a responsibility. Now, Sanskrit has not changed that much over the years, so you can understand Sanskrit thanks to Sanskrit's prescriptive grammar. But the thing is that the way how words were used at that context or that time context is a little bit different. And you have to shift your mind 2,500 years back in order to understand that. Trust me, the only barrier is the time context. And since Sanskrit has not changed that much, you can get with it. The other reason is content, subject, and scholars. What do I mean by that? The other day, a guy messaged me telling what is the differences between Arya Samaj and Vedanta philosophy. I didn't have any idea about it, so I just replied him back that if you know English, then it does not mean that you know physics, right? And similarly, if you know Sanskrit, it does not mean that you know Vedanta philosophy. So the thing is that if you're consuming content out of your domain, out of your subject, you have no knowledge about it, then you are going to have a hard time understanding it. It's just simple logic. And similar thing is there for Sanskrit. So first, master the basics. And if you're speaking with scholars who are expert in their particular field, then you're going to have a hard time. So that's it. And here comes the fourth and my favorite reason, that is enormous power. Provided that you have knowledge, Sanskrit gives you enormous power for creating extraordinary works of poetry that's not even possible in other languages. So take a look at these.
भूरिभिर्भारिभिर्भीरै भूभारैरभिरेभिरे भेरीरे भिभिरभ्राभै रभिरुभिरिभैरिभा लोकालोकी कलोकल्क कलिलोलिकुलालक कालोकलोकलिः काले कोलकेलिकिलः किल.
So what I advise you is that you should be away from these things. You should enjoy it, but be away from these things, like metric poem even there, and other things like aesthetics that Kalidasa uses. You should be away from it at the first phase of your Sanskrit learning journey. So that's it. And the final reason is cultural context. And since Sanskrit has so long history and heritage, what it is going to happen is that the tradition is going to be inside the language. And if you're detached with the culture, from the culture, and what it is going to happen is that you cannot understand even basic Sanskrit stuffs which are not even so complex. So you should be attached with your culture. And this is a problem for foreigners too. What it happens is they are not so attached with our culture in the Indian subcontinent, and they find it difficult even the basic Sanskrit sentences to understand in the scriptures. So that is a problem. We should address that more than others. The other problem that I mentioned, they're easier, but this one is a little bit harder to solve. So thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel. This is it for today.